Good morning. Thank you for joining us. My name is Erica Thomas. I'm the manager of the Public Information Office here at the Lincoln Police Department. Today we are going to be sharing details about an officer-involved shooting that happened overnight outside a business in the area of North 50th and R Streets. You'll hear from Police Chief Michonne Morrow, and we ask that you wait to ask questions until the end of her prepared statement. Chief?
Good morning. Thank you for joining us today. The Lincoln Police Department is investigating an officer-involved shooting that occurred just after 1:30 a.m. this morning. I do want to begin with the conditions of those involved. We are very grateful to share our officer is uninjured. Meanwhile, the suspect is in the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. We will say we're also thankful that he will be okay and that there was no loss of life in this incident. Based on our preliminary investigation, this is what we believe unfolded. Around 1:30 a.m. this morning, an officer on our Northeast team was dispatched to the Office Depot at 333 North 50th Street for an alarm near the rear doors. And for your perspective, we do have a screenshot of the specific area that our officer was responding to reference that alarm. When he arrived, he located a man inside a small access door behind the dumpster near the back dock. He gave verbal commands to the suspect, but he did not comply. The suspect threw a metal object at the officer before firing at him, and our officer then returned fire. We do have a photo that we would like to show you. What we have circled here is the actual muzzle flash of the suspect as he is back in that area behind the dumpster. The time between the officer's arrival and shots fired was less than 90 seconds, so this all happened very quickly. A handgun was recovered at the scene in close proximity to where the suspect was ultimately taken into custody. Again, we do have two still photos from body-worn camera that we will show you. As you can see, the suspect is on the ground where we take him into custody, and in close proximity you see the object here that is the firearm, and then here is a close-up view of the firearm that the suspect had. The suspect has been identified as a 49-year-old Lincoln man. Once other officers arrived and determined it was safe to approach, they immediately rendered first aid on the scene. The suspect was then taken to the hospital where he underwent surgery for multiple non-life-threatening gunshot wounds. Once released, he'll be taken to the Lancaster County Jail for attempted murder, burglary, felon in possession of a firearm, and possible other charges as this investigation continues to unfold. The officer is on paid administrative leave, which is standard procedure for an officer-involved shooting. We will identify both the suspect and the officer at a later date. Again, the investigation is ongoing, and right now our crime scene investigators are working to gather and process evidence. That will include review of body-worn camera footage, some of the stills that you saw today from that footage. Part of the investigation will include determining how many rounds were fired and by whom. We encourage anyone who may have additional information to please reach out to LPD at 402-441-6000, or if you wish to remain anonymous, you are welcome to contact Crime Stoppers at 402-475-3600, as well as the ability to report online at lincolncrimestoppers.com or download the free P3 app. And with that, I will open it up to questions.
What was the suspect wounded at? On his body?
Lower extremities. Yeah.
Was the officer running as he fired? Like, I know previously we've been told officers are trained to shoot for the core of somebody. So I'm trying to gather why maybe the lower extremities were hit when the officer returned fire.
To clarify that statement, our officers are trained to stop a threat, and in this instance, that is what occurred. We did stop the threat, and he went down, and we were able to safely take him into custody and render aid. This was an in motion. As you can imagine, the shot is fired, and our officer has to position himself to safely and then engage the suspect. And this continued for a few seconds, so there is motion. I just don't have the ability to further provide information on that this morning.
Was this the only officer that was there?
Yes. The additional officers arrived on scene immediately after and further assisted again securing that firearm that was still in close proximity of the suspect before we were able to get close enough to take him into custody to ensure that this threat incident was over, and then also to assist in rendering aid.
Did the suspect's shot or shots hit anything?
To my knowledge, no, but that is still part of the ongoing investigation. Of course, it was a darker area, and so our crime scene investigators are out on that scene, and they will be able to paint a better picture for us as it continues.
Why was the suspect wanted? Was the call out there just for that alarm being set off?
Correct. Yep, an alarm. We got an alarm, which always will initiate a response from two, generally, of our officers to go and check to see if entry was actually gained or if it was a false alarm in this case. This is why we train. He was prepared as he approached. He did actually find this suspect who was in an area that we believe is a garbage chute that leads out to that dumpster, but would also allow entry into the full business.
So he never gained entry into the business.
I don't have that information. I don't know that that's accurate based on, we just know where we contacted him. That does not mean that he hadn't already been in and out of the business. So again, that will be part of our ongoing investigation.
Can you confirm if LSO is leading the investigation into the shooting itself?
We are conducting this investigation. We have a joint team, and at times when we conduct these investigations, it's who is readily available to answer that call. We do have LSO assisting on the crime scene. So there's two components of this investigation that operate concurrently. The investigators that are conducting interviews and then our crime scene techs collecting evidence, and we do have LSO assisting as a part of that scene, and we're very grateful for that continued partnership.
Do you guys know what the metal object was that was thrown towards the officer?
I would only be making an assumption of what I think. That's a little bit harder to picture off of the body-worn camera, and since I did not respond to the scene, I'm going to withhold my assumption.
Can you I think you mentioned that the suspect was shot in the lower extremities.
Yes.
Can you identify how many times he was shot? And you said multiple, but do you know how many?
He immediately, when he arrived at the hospital, went into surgery. So I would want to confirm once he is out of surgery and stable what that number is. That's something that we can release as, again, when we have the full picture of this investigation.
Is it standard for LPD to investigate their own officer-involved shooting?
Here's what I'll tell you. Again, we have a joint team that consists of LPD and LSO officers, and at times we also have a partnership with the Nebraska State Patrol. Anytime we have an incident that like this, a lot of eyes get to review it, and so we feel very confident that through these investigations, whether we're lead or we have LSO leading and we're on the team, that we are doing very thorough, detailed investigations, so we have a logical conclusion that we can share.
Did the officer go for a full round of bullets?
I don't have that information.
Did you say it was unpaid or paid?
It's paid. That is part of our standard policy when we have an officer who's involved in an officer-involved shooting or critical incident. We put them out on paid administrative leave. That's an important component for us as we continue the investigation. And moreover, we always want to ensure that we provide the proper supports to them during that time. Again, we're extremely grateful that he was uninjured, and we were very happy to send him home this morning to his family, where we hope that he's getting some rest as we continue this investigation.
What was the caliber of the handgun? Or can you release that?
Yeah, I don't actually have that information yet.
Okay.
Will you guys be releasing body cam footage at some point?
It is likely that I won't release body-worn camera footage. I did again want to take stills to share with you today. I think that helps paint the picture of what happened. But due to the fact that this will result in an arrest, and that becomes part of our ongoing investigation and then further prosecution, we generally don't like to release the entire video.
And then you know if the Office Depot will remain closed for today or?
That's a great question. I don't know that. Don't have that information. I know they were supposed to open at 9 a.m. I suspect that they're not fully open at this time. Okay.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here this morning.
The entire news release is up on our website, including a link to the images that we shared, so you're welcome to access that there. I'll also send out an email here shortly. If you could let me know when your live streams are done, that'd be great.